It's a rough day in the world of Magic the Gathering. Magic players are raging over the Bloomburrow disaster. They're also angry about today's secret lair drop. On top of that, there has just been a major rules change to Magic the Gathering that has led to both confusion and, you guessed it, anger.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. My friends, I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for a very disgruntled installment of Mega Magic News. Wizards of the Coast has been screwing up on multiple levels. I have a whole bunch of notes that we need to go over. Before we dive into the badness, just want to talk about a little bit of goodness in the form of this big, fat, meaty box of mystery stuff that just appeared today. So, I'm going to open this up over on my live stream channel tonight. You are welcome to come by, hang out, and find out what is in this fat, heavy chunk boy because I'm genuinely curious and I imagine it's going to be a bunch of fun magic related stuff. Now that we've covered the goodness, let's dive in to this gigantic soup of bad times because Wizards is really screwing up on multiple levels. Bloomburrow, secret lair, and rules changes, also all of them coming together to create the Triforce of bad times. So I guess in no particular order, let's just start out with all the stuff that's going on with Bloomburrow. All right, so first things first. Apparently, the pre-release was marred for people in a number of ways. The most egregious, as far as I'm concerned, are the people who got stuck with a bunch of random Spanish cards showing up in their English pre-release kits. Wizards is in such a rush to make a million different products at once that they can't get anything right, okay? So on top of the Spanish issue, I'm getting tons of people telling me about all the different card quality issues that they are encountering on top of the ones that we've already seen. So we've got foils specifically from the Japanese printings that are coming out completely banged up with massive dings in them. Speaking of dings, I actually watched a buddy of mine open one of his prize packs from the pre-release straight up from box to his hand, right? Shipped from Wizards to the store, straight up coming out of the pack with huge, it would like you'd have to take your nail and smash it into the top of the card and dig down. And it was multiple cards from a brand new pack. It was absolutely absurd. He's super lucky that the Sword of Fire and Ice that he got didn't end up getting damaged that way. Quality control at Wizards of the Coast is an absolute joke right now. So that is one of the things that's making people really upset. Also, pre-releases are supposed to be the environment for brand new players. So giving them Spanish cards, giving them banged up cards is no good. But also, other layers that make it more confusing are also no good. And that leads me into the token problem with Bloomburrow. So if you hadn't played in the pre-release, you might already know what I'm talking about. This set has a ton of token generation, but it takes it to a new level. Magic the Gathering has gotten more and more complex, right? And as a result, you can see Wizards trying to save space on cards. That's why Entered the Battlefield changed into just enters, right? So they can go, let's trim it down. And that'll actually tie into something else we're going to talk about as well. But anyhow, they've been making those changes because we're getting more complexity. Well, this extends to the tokens now, where they're making offspring tokens, which are literal copies of straight up creatures, including their casting costs. So you have the confusion, first of all, of people seeing tokens and going, wait a minute, why does this token have a casting cost? Can I cast this? No, you can't, Billy. But the real confusion comes in when you have a whole bunch of people who have never played with the product before. We're all going to sit down. We're all going to play. Oh, it's time to generate tokens. Well, Wizards didn't send a bunch of the tokens out to the game store in advance to go, here's all the different tokens that might come up. They also didn't do what they did with the Am and Ket block where we had a ton of tokens. They had like what, 20 some odd different creature tokens, and they all were like eternalized or the regular versions and things like that. So what they did was in the bundle, they included a little package that had literally every token in the set. They were double-sided. Now, Wizards didn't do that with these bundles. I think they're probably trying to gamify the tokens, where essentially what they want to have happen is certain tokens be rare tokens, so you chase after them. We've seen that previously with sets they've done in the past, but with Bloomburrow, they have a rare opportunity to amp that up a notch. And if you're thinking to yourself, Wizards wouldn't game the system that way, remember, they're even gaming the full art basic lands. The spring and summer are the ones you will get 70% of the time. 20% of the time you get the autumn land, and only 10% is winter time, because Wizards thinks that's the ones you want the most. So they're literally tweaking it so you won't even get the basic lands you want easily. So they're doing the same thing with tokens, where it's like, oh, you want the offspring token for this card? Well, good luck catching it. Good luck buying it. It's more ways to get extra money into the secondary market, right? So at this point, it's causing a bunch of confusion for people. They're going to events and it's like they're forgetting that their offspring tokens are offspring tokens, or they're insisting that their regular 1/1 rabbit token is actually an offspring token with all of these abilities, right? And it just ends up reflecting poorly on the game. And also, it's a real frustration for the people who are playing at the game store. And it's like, okay, what do we do? Do we go and get pen and paper? Does the store have 30 extra pens for us? I don't know how many people you guys had out at your pre-releases, but in some cases, 50, 60, 70 people, right? Depending on the store. That's a lot of pen and paper that you need to have kicking around. And the game store owners weren't prepared for this, right? They're not thinking to themselves, you know what, we're going to have a token fiasco. But this really does bog things down, because not only does it lead to confusion, it leads to more judge calls, more bad feels, where somebody's going to feel like the other person's cheating, right? Either you didn't have that token, you're a liar, or I did have that token and you're making me a liar and now I've lost it. So Magic has a genuine complexity creep problem, and it is very, very evident with what's going on with Bloomburrow. And it's not just the pre-release where we have issues with Bloomburrow. There's also the fact that you have the commander decks, multiple people reporting they've gotten commander decks that straight up stink. You open the package and it hits you in the face. The smell lasts for hours and hours. It's like formaldehyde. I remember having that happen to me with, it was the War of the Spark bundle, where I opened it and it was just like, what is this? I literally had to lean back from it. The quality of the products that they're making is just getting progressively worse on multiple levels. And they're gaming the booster packs on another level. If you guys didn't know, and I actually have the booster packs with the information written on the back to prove it, here's how it works. When they originally came up with play boosters, we were told, Rosewater came out and said, look, we know play boosters are going to cost more. The cost of the box is going to cost more money to you. We're aware of that. But ultimately, bear in mind that your dollar to rare ratio remains the same. So these packs can have more rares, because play boosters can have up to 4 rares in them. So he's like, yo, it costs more money, but when you compare the amount of dollars you're spending to the amount of rares you get, it's exactly the same as previous products, so don't worry. But here's the thing, quietly behind the scenes, they've changed the contents of what you can get overall. And this has led to a significant decrease in multi-rare packs, right? First of all, that's crazy to me that they just do this so quickly, because it's only 2 sets. Like Markov Manor was where they first introduced play boosters. And here we are 2 sets later, and they're already yanking the numbers way down. They also changed the pre-release kit arena codes, if you didn't hear that. I thought that they still had it at that you could use 5 codes, but they're back down to just 1 code because they can't help themselves. They have to keep making the deal worse for us. So when it comes to the breakdown on the back of these boosters, you can actually see, it will tell you the percentage chance you have of getting a 2 rare pack, a 3 rare pack, a 4 rare pack, all right? So when it comes down to a 2 rare pack, it went from a 37% chance to a 23% chance, which is a reduction of about 38%. So you're 38% less likely to get a pack with 2 rares. Now, a pack with 3 rares, you used to have a 4% chance. Now you have a 1% chance. That's a 75% reduction in the amount of 3 rare packs. Now, when it comes down to the 4 rare packs, here's where the math is impossible, because on both booster packs, it says less than 1% chance. But going off of this, if we go 38% less for 2 rares, 75% less for 3 rares, it would not surprise me at all to find out you have a 95% less chance of getting 4 rares. Now that's pure guesswork, but I'm extrapolating it based off of this. And bear in mind as well, they made it so that the list cards are only special guests. They only show up in 1.5% of packs, but they also seeded them with awful special guests. It's not like they're all banger cards. You're only going to get 1 out of every 3 boxes, but you can still get complete jank ones. So while I very much enjoy the flavor of Bloomburrow, I love the world, the story for it is fun. If you haven't checked it out, it's over on my Fantasy Geographic channel. So, like, I like Bloomburrow, and I'm collecting a set of it, but this is all egregious, right? The pre-release being a nightmare, the token nonsense, the significantly worse pull rates after we were told, don't worry about the play booster change because you're going to have the same dollar rare ratio. Well, what do you have to say about that now, Rosewater? Clearly, it's 2 sets later. It's the same year. So there's just this marketing maneuver where it's like, hey, don't worry, the ratios stay the same. And like, we want you to have the big, woo, boosty kind of, you got multi-rare feeling. But also, we're going to reduce the chances of that happening significantly by anywhere from 38 to 95%, which is, it's mind-blowing how awful what they're doing is overall. It's incredibly frustrating to me, right? I guess if you want a silver lining for that, in one way, it makes limited a little less swingy, right? So if you're playing in a limited event, you're less likely to have as many rares showing up, which means it's going to be less decided by the bomby nature of big cards and more decided based on your overall card pool and how you play. You won't get blown out as easily, but considering that's a small part of it compared to most people opening these packs thinking, I still have the same chance, you can see posts of people going, I don't understand. Like, it feels like I'm getting way less rares from the set and way less of the exciting fun stuff. And it's like, yep, that's by design. Wizards has put most of the juice in collector boosters. Maybe they've reduced the rare pull rates because, I mean, first of all, they want you to buy more boosters, but maybe that's an attempt to push more people into collector boosters, because collector boosters are genuinely a diminishing returns kind of product. More and more people are opting out of these expensive packs that are mostly foil and all beat up garbage, right? Like, because Wizards foils are insanely bad. Japanese foils used to be the high standard mark, coming out of Bloomburrow packs like banged up, not just whitened around the edges, which is something that we're sadly getting used to. We're talking straight up like full on damaged, which it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing how they can charge so much money for this product and yet make these mistakes. Now, let's talk about the Magic rules change that is aggravating and confusing people. So, this is another situation where it appears to me Wizards is trying to save real estate in the text box. They are changing the phrase post, when it goes into your second, like you've got your main phase and then you've got the combat phase that comes after it. So it's your post-combat main phase. They're changing that to second main phase. So basically they're shrinking down the word post-combat to second. So they're saving like 4 letters on a card to do this, but it functionally changes particular cards. I'm going to put a card up on the screen now that's causing the most contention for people. This is Neheb, and you can see that he has the ability that says post-combat main phase. Now, if you have multiple attacks, let's say you get 2 extra attacks in a turn, well, guess what? You're going to get 2 extra post-combat main phases. But changing that to second main phase functionally changes the card. And there's about a dozen cards that are changed in this way. Most cards that have it changed to second main phase aren't really going to be affected the same way by this, but there are a handful of cards that are genuinely impacted. Neheb here is the poster boy, and people have been seeking clarity about this, going, wait, so does this card get errated now to say that it triggers on each extra phase, or is this just going to go on the second post-combat main phase? Like, how does this work? And the rules manager is literally giving conflicting information. One day he's saying one thing, the next day he's saying another. It's unclear what's printed on Gatherer, whether that's the accurate wording or not. And so I'm still waiting for the dust to settle. That's part of the reason that I had waited to even talk about this. It's still not 100% clear what's going on with Neheb. Do you actually still get to go off with him multiple times, or is it only in the second main phase? Like, ultimately, I don't have a big problem with the rules change as it is. I have a problem with them not having all their ducks in a row and not really being aware of what they're doing. It looks like there might have been some other shifts with the Magic cards too, and I'm looking into this, but there might actually be some cards where they straight up are worded incorrectly, where when you read the card, it actually functions in the opposite way. So I'm going to do another update about that kind of rule stuff when we get to it, because they're scrambling. They can't keep up with all the products they're making. It's incredibly frustrating. Speaking of frustration, let's talk about the anger that's circulating around the new Secret Lair Super Drop. And this is specifically in regards to Monty Python. There's so many people who are angry about this Secret Lair Super Drop that there's already a sticky thread on the main Reddit, right? Where it says, okay, everybody, can you please post your anger about Secret Lair stuff, the new Secret Lair stuff here? Because it's everywhere. It was sprawling all over the place. They just had to go and delete a ton of posts and go, can you just post it in here, please? So, apparently, Hatsune Miku has been dethroned as the ultimate sellout Secret Lair. Wow, it's gone, bam, like that. Because the Monty Python Secret Lairs, they were just gone in a heartbeat. There's so many people who are raging out that they have no ability to order this Secret Lair because Wizards went, well, we're not doing print to demand anymore. And the only reason they're not doing print to demand is just because, well, we want to FOMO you to get you to buy it right away. Aren't you afraid of missing out? Well, apparently the Monty Python Secret Lairs were gone virtually instantaneously. By the time I woke up today, they were already gone, and the rage was heavily flowing. And I understand why. The Monty Python Secret Lairs are absolutely amazing, and I'm numbered among the people who are very unhappy that they're not going to be able to get them. So for me, this is a big bummer. I understand everybody else's rage. What I'm about to show you might make you angrier, or you might just find it enjoyable. But we have the Monty Python Secret Lair bonus cards already revealed because Wizards of the Coast sold a few in advance at a recent convention, so somebody was kind enough to take a picture and share the cards. So let's take a look at what the two bonus cards are. You've got Catapult, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the bonus card for the first of the two Monty Python Secret Lairs. So this is a reskinned Goblin Bombardment. 1 green and 1 for an enchantment that says sack a creature. Catapult deals 1 damage to any target. The flavor text says, Fetch la vache! And I mean, if you've seen the movie, you know this scene. You've got the French knight, he's up on the parapets, he's talking smack to the knights of the round table, telling King Arthur, hit the bricks, buddy! And then when he doesn't, he's just like, no, I'm not leaving. And then the knight turns to the other knight and he goes, Fetch la vache! And they go and get a cat and literally catapult it over the castle walls. This is the most amazing Goblin Bombardment ever made. So this is a really sweet card with really sweet flavor. Now the other card is a garbage card. It's got amazing flavor because it's the Killer Rabbit of Carabanog, but this is the worst card ever printed in a Secret Lair, hands down. 2 black and 2 for a 4/4 Rabbit Beast. This is Kezardrix, by the way. This was a rare when it originally came back out, I think it was originally in Tempest. So imagine this is your rare. 2 black and 2 for a 4/4 First Strike Rabbit Beast. At the beginning of your upkeep, if your opponents control no creatures, Killer Rabbit deals 4 damage to you. If your opponent's out, you pay 4 mana for a 4/4 first striker, but if your opponent's board is empty, it's going to smack you in the face for 4 every turn, which it does fit the flavor of this cute little bunny. That scene in the movie is so much fun. Look at the bones! The flavor text says, that's the most foul, cruel, and bad-tempered rodent you ever set eyes on. So in terms of the flavor, you can literally see the bunny leaping up at this dude who is very doomed. And you can see the other people, run away, run away! Like, this has absolute amazing Monty Python flavor, and for me it does make me even more disappointed that I'm not going to be getting these secret layers. So Wizards of the Coast has done a good job of aggravating people on multiple levels. I'll keep you up to date on what the official ruling turns out to be about the second main phase, and if there are cards in Bloomburrow that are genuinely working opposite of the way they're supposed to. Magic in some ways is an absolute travesty right now. But you know what's not a travesty? My patrons! Thank you very much for supporting my channel. It's time for me to get going. Oh, you know what? Another reminder. If you want to see my fat package action tonight, head on over to my live stream on my live stream archive. Thanks for coming by, my friends, and I'll see you all next time.